My name is Cam Morris, and I'm the manager of the Oneonta Division of Hale Transportation located in Oneonta, New York. We are a company with approximately 30 motor coaches and have been around since 2006. For those of you who don't know me or my company, we primarily provide charter services to groups, schools, and colleges, as well as corporations. Hopefully, with the help of our next speaker, we will be around for years to come.
My name is Glenn Avery. I'm an operator of a motor coach and school bus company in the Mid-Hudson Valley, which is right in the heart of Congressman Delgado's district. We've been around for more than 60 years. Like many of the other companies in this industry, we're a family-owned business. And thanks in good part to the CERTS Act, we hope to be around for many more years.
We are honored to be here today to introduce our next distinguished speaker, Congressman Antonio Delgado. Representative Delgado is from Schenectady and lives in Rhinebeck with his wife, Lacey, and their twin sons, Maxwell and Coltrane. Representative Delgado's parents worked for General Electric in Schenectady, demonstrating the values of hard work and commitment to community. It is that hardworking spirit that Representative Delgado has continued throughout his life. He earned a Rhodes Scholarship while he attended Colgate University in Hamilton, New York, and went on to attend Harvard Law School. And I might add that we have many buses that go out of Colgate University.
Representative Delgado's professional experiences include a career in the music industry, focused on empowering young people through the hip hop culture, as well as working as an attorney on complex commercial matters. He also dedicated significant time to pro bono work in connection with criminal justice reform. And it's because of these diverse professional and personal experiences that Congressman Delgado finds common ground across the aisle and has been able to deliver results for the people in New York's 19th Congressional District. The Congressman serves on the House Small Business, Transportation, and Infrastructure Committees.
Please join us in welcoming Congressman Antonio Delgado to ABA's virtual fly-in.
Folks from my congressional district, New York's 19th congressional district, engaged on such important issues. And I know how critical this issue is, certainly for the good folks that I represent. I'm going to keep my remarks brief. I know there might be some questions, and votes were also just called. But I do want to stress that I represent a very rural district, the 8th most rural congressional seat in the entire country. Most folks, when they think of New York, they don't think about that. But it is true that there are very rural parts of the state. And I know the impact that motor coaches have on our rural communities. Motor coach services are a key form of transportation for so many who do not have affordable or reliable options as far as transportation goes. And for many in rural and low-income areas of the country, motor coach travel is the only way of getting around. More than 500 people in my district work in the private motor coach business, generating more than $64 million in economic impact. Across your industry, you provide 88,830 direct, good-paying, full-time equivalent jobs. And in 2018, you generated close to $15.35 billion in revenue. The American bus industry is essential to our economy. And I know that COVID has hurt your industry especially hard. Private motor coaches were among the first businesses to shut down and the last to open. We need to do more to support this industry, many of which are small family-run operations. I was proud to strongly support the creation of the CERTS program last Congress and co-sponsored legislation that would have provided $10 billion for private motor coach, school bus, and passenger vessel industries to keep them from laying off employees. While the full $10 billion was not authorized, I was proud to vote for the CARES Act, which funded this program at $2 billion. The CERTS program has provided much needed relief for the motor coach, school bus, and passenger vessel industries devastated by the COVID-19 pandemic. To ensure this program is more robustly funded, I signed on to a bipartisan letter in September calling on the House leadership to include an additional $6 billion funding in the reconciliation package. I'll keep working to deliver this aid. Additionally, I am supportive of efforts to make the CERT grants exempt from federal taxation, like the Paycheck Protection Program and other grants supporting employers. I also want to talk about the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. As you know, a few weeks ago, we voted to temporarily extend surface transportation programs and prevent thousands of federal highway and transit workers from being furloughed. But to be clear, this was a temporary stopgate, another kick the can down the road measure that prevents the worst while achieving no meaningful progress. New York has 1,702 bridges and over 7,292 miles of highway in poor condition. Over 1 million New York households are not connected to broadband. In the last decade, our state has experienced 31 extreme weather events costing New York up to $100 billion in damages. The Infrastructure and Investment Jobs Act will deliver highway, bridge, transit, broadband, and water infrastructure investments in our communities and generate billions in economic activity. Democrats and Republicans must come together to meet the urgency of this moment and find common ground. We all want our families to have safe roads, clean drinking water, internet access, and good paying jobs. My focus remains on continuing the fight for improved infrastructure and a better economy for our region. And I certainly support getting the bipartisan bill passed and signed into law. The last legislative item that I do want to flag is, and it's a work in progress still, but the House and Senate Small Business Committees are in the early stages of putting together another bipartisan targeted pandemic package to help especially hard-hit industries. We don't have details on the contours of the package yet, but I voiced to the Chair Velasquez, the importance of including additional support for motor coach industry. So certainly we'll continue to push that item as well. Thank you. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Congressman. Very good to have you with us. Nice to meet you virtually. I wish it was in person, but given the state of COVID, we all understand. But I appreciate you being with us and taking the time. Thank you also for your efforts on CERTS. I mean, not only the $2 billion, but the opportunity to get additional funding. You know, for your background, this industry was about a $15.3 billion industry pre-COVID. And in the last 2 years, we've lost over 60% of that revenue. And so many companies are still struggling. They're still having a very, very tough time. And as you point out, it's a big part of your district. In addition to Pam and Glenn, who introduced you, Gene Berardi, who's the chairman of the association, operates New York Pine Hill and New York Trailways, which I know are also in your district, just in the Kingston area. And Gene sends his best wishes as well. One of the other things just to make you aware of is that, you know, in the CERTS grants, at least the initial round, that $2 billion that was given out on the motor coach side, about 33% of the recipients were minorities. Their impact the small business and the minority community hugely. And those are the companies in particular that we really want to make sure are going to be around for generations to come. So thank you for all that you've done. We can't thank you enough. We really appreciate you being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And as you know, Pam, Glenn, and Gene, and everybody else, in my district, I know how important these issues are. I think the number you mentioned, 60% revenue loss there is significant and certainly needs to be accounted for.
Let me turn it over to my colleagues if they've got some questions for you.
Hi, Congressman. I know you're watching the clock carefully because I do appreciate that there are votes called. So we certainly don't want to hold you up from that, but we want to say thank you very much for your continued support of our industry. As Peter mentioned, and you noted, we have several of our member companies in your district, and it's really nice to hear that how much you appreciate and understand the role of the motor coach industry for your district, particularly being in the rural district. So that's a big plus for us. Just wanted to touch quickly on, I know you are both on the role of the Small Business Committee, and we really appreciate the opportunity to work with you on that package as it comes together. It's something that we are, very much focused on, and whatever we can do to work with you and support you on that and other members in terms of, any guidance you might want to offer us and how we can help, educate and support you with some of your colleagues on that Small Business Committee would be helpful. So if you have any suggestions to us on what we can do, would love to hear them.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think, the biggest suggestion I would give is to make sure that, you stay very engaged with my office and, particularly Robert, who's on this call, my legislative director, and make sure that as more and more information becomes available from your standpoint that could, help, us be better advocates, you share that and share it aggressively. And, we will in turn aggressively share it, with leadership. And so I think it's just making sure that we don't let any gaps in information form. And to the extent that there are opportunities for us and my team to build coalitions or, partnerships, with my colleagues to push this agenda even more so, then we can do that. So I would just, encourage you to keep putting pressure on us.
Sure. Absolutely.
We just had Congressman Gottheimer just joined us prior to you jumping on, and he told us about his trip to the White House yesterday. I'm just curious how you see things shaking out with both the bipartisan infrastructure bill and reconciliation by the end of this month.
Well, I think probably Gottheimer has a bit more visibility, to be candid with you, than I do, given the role he has taken up during the course of these negotiations. I think what I understand is that there's a real concerted effort to get both done, to make sure that we land somewhere. And I think the administration is doing a lot to help everybody, comfortably land in a place that requires a little bit of sacrifice, a little bit of compromise. And, that's, I think, required for progress. And so, like I said in my remarks, I certainly was very supportive and still am very supportive on a standalone basis, the bipartisan bill, and welcome the opportunity to support it. At the same time, I also understand that there are a lot of good things in the larger package we're trying to secure. And as we move forward and ultimately get to a better place on that, I look forward to being able to support those endeavors as well.
Great. Well, like my colleague said, we just want to thank you for not only being here today, but supporting our industry since, you've been in Congress, and we look forward to continuing to work with you, and we'll let you go vote.
Yes, so you don't miss your votes. Thank you so much, Congress, for joining us.
Thank you, Congressman. Appreciate it.
So you all stay safe and healthy. Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
You too. Thank you to Congressman Delgado. As we said before, we will be taking a brief break, and we will be back with Senator Deb Fischer from Nebraska at 2:00. Thank you.